Welcome back to the Coach Derek Burroughs Show. My name is Cesar Quispe alongside former NFL player, Coach Derek Burroughs. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
In the last segment, we talked a little bit about the game with Fort Valley State and how the Dragons played a very consistent game throughout all four quarters and how we finally ended up with the victory, a 10-7 victory. And so this next segment, we're going to go over some of the highlights and some of the plays from Saturday's game.
Okay.
Please walk us through some of the plays here, Coach.
That'd be great. We're going to start off with some special team highlights. Of course, you know, special teams is very important. Juwan Williamson from Atlanta, Georgia, you'll see him come down on the kickoff, make a great play for us. He was special team player of the week. As you can see the circle on him, he did a hell of a job for us on this particular play. Okay, and Jamion Dunning, he's our punt returner this year. He put us in some pretty good field position for us. And we always say if we can get 10 yards, that's a great thing. We're punting to Fort Valley, and there is Juwan Williamson again on the tackle, just a freshman. So we're very proud of him. Here's Fort Valley punting to us again, and Jamion catches it on the bounce, and hopefully we can get that 10 yards that we were looking for, and we did. So he did a great job for us. And here's Raul Martinez. I think is this our only field goal for the so we're kicking off to them again, and again there's Juwan Williamson again, true freshman. So we're proud of him. Okay, here's some defensive highlights. I think this is one of our first of 3 sacks that we had on Fort Valley, and they're punting to us, and here is Jamion again, get his 10 yards, and then he got a little bit more, which put us in great field position. Okay, here's a big play on defense from Whitney Richardson, and a strip by I think Rancher and Javon Kelly, who's our SIAC player of the week, wound up picking up that fumble. So here's a replay of that play also. Here's another sack by Ray Taylor, sophomore all-conference player for us, and Brian Thames also. So we thought our defensive front did a great job, and here's Brandon Banks gets his hand in there and stops them from scoring on us. And here's Whitney Richardson again. I tell you what, Whitney had a great game for us. I think he wound up with 2.5 sacks. And here's a 4th and 1 that was so important to them, and obviously it was more important to us. And we stopped them on 4th and 1, and that was important. He was just an all-out play where 3 guys wound up stuffing this guy here in the backfield for no gain. So that was a hell of a job. Marcus Holliday has been very consistent for us running the football. MJ has learned, our quarterback, MJ has learned to keep his head upfield, which we're very, very proud of that, and not wanting to scramble all the time. And he's keeping his head upfield, finding his receivers, and found Justin Hill here for 8-9 yard gain. Here's Marcus Reynolds again, avoiding the sack, still keeping his eyes upfield to find Kentrell Spencer. Okay. Here's Marcus Holliday again, bouncing outside for 12 to 15 yards. All right. 3rd and 1. Right now with 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, we needed about a yard. Marcus went and got it for us. Okay. Here's MJ showing his maturity, staying in the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield. Hits Amara Hampton on a 50, 60 yard gain out here. Keeping his eyes upfield, avoiding the rush, still keeping his eyes upfield. He's improved tremendously from last year. And here's a fade by MJ Reynolds.
And that was the touchdown also.
And that was a touchdown, and we make this 1st down and the game is over. We only needed a yard. I think we wind up getting 10. So, if any time we needed it, that was the time we needed to put it in their zone, and that's what the kids did. I'm
And they
proud of
did.
them.
Coach, on special teams, I mean, very consistent, phenomenal punt returns from the special teams
Right.
specialists, and then also on the field goals. I mean, they scored when we had to score.
Right.
Same thing with the defense. You know, later on in our next segment, we're going to talk with the SIAC Defensive Player of the Week. But not only did Javante Kelly play well, but the rest of the defensive squad also played very well. Up line, up front, you talked a little bit about some of these guys in the front who just put a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure on their team. So let's talk a little bit about that, Coach. Going into Saturday's game, from the previous game, from the Texas College game, going into Saturday's game, did you make some adjustments in your personnel, or did you feel pretty confident in the personnel you had?
No, we felt pretty confident about the kids we put out on the field last week, and no, we made no adjustments other than we made some different calls, of course, but we made no major adjustments. We ran out there with the same kids we played in the Texas College game, and they did a good job for us. We just got to make sure that we clean up some of the personal foul penalties and some of the unfortunate penalties that we had during this Fort Valley game.
You know, penalties went both ways, and some big calls, were made as well. And I think the team, again, playing consistent, they were able to overcome some of those penalties. And then, when offense would make a mistake, the defense would come back and play strong, and vice versa. So.
Well, that's what good teams do.
Yes, and 2-0 record is very good. And we're hoping that will turn into 3-0 next week in Langston. Coach, what was the one thing that you were looking forward to the most in this game against Fort Valley?
Winning the football game. As I said, it's been a bad taste in my mouth for a whole year that we went to Fort Valley last year and didn't finish the game. And we constantly preach to our kids about finishing. And I'm most proud of us winning. And our kids hung in there. They fought. They never gave up for 1 second. So I'm proud of them.
If you had to rank the performance of the team from 0 to 10, please rank maybe our special teams defense and offense. And what are some areas do you think we could improve upon?
Well, that we can always find improvement in every game. And the one thing you don't want to do is when you win, you don't want to sweep things under the rug. So there are a lot of improvements we have to make. One, we had 12 penalties for 164 yards, and 3 of those being personal foul penalties. So we got to improve on our discipline and not let the game overcome us. And we got to learn to play in and during adversity. And there's a lot of things to improve because you win. We don't. We try to stress we're not going to sweep things under the rug just because we win. But there's a lot of things to improve on, and the main thing we need to improve on is our personal foul penalties and our penalties as a whole.
Now, you talked a little bit about the maturity of the quarterback, Marcus Reynolds.
Yeah.
He played a game last year against Fort Valley, and again, they put a lot of points on.
Okay.
What were some of the things that you saw here in just the closing moments of this segment from him?
Well, I think Marcus, I think sometimes he tries to do too much, and he didn't have to. And he had a great game against Fort Valley last year where he rushed for over 200 yards. And we run a whole new different offense right now, and he doesn't have to do as much. We're not asking him to do as much as he did last year. So Marcus has to kind of settle down and understand. We're not asking him to do as much as he did last year.
Thanks a lot, Coach. We're going to go ahead and take a commercial break, and we'll see you guys in just a moment in our next segment. Thank you. You were counting down, right? Okay.